Good morning and welcome to Kramer's Corner with Daily Technical Update. It is Monday the 20th of May and this is an educational video. There's no advice or recommendation whatsoever intended doing this. It is only for to demonstrate how I try to read the markets and show you how you can also do it and apply technical analysis to your analysis and possibly trading and investing. But there again, there's no recommendation or advice whatsoever intending doing this. Today I will start with Novo Nordisk, Danish pharma company producing diabetes and weight loss drugs primarily. They have been in the news quite a bit lately due to the fact that they fired their CEO. So let's see if the dust has settled a little bit. The initial reaction was sending the stock price down about 4% after it started a good day late last week. It has was up a bit yesterday again, but in the broader picture it is still range bound and depressed below 465. It needs to close above 465 to establish a bullish trend, and RSI also needs to get back above 60 threshold. And what we can see here is that it is still very much depressed. However, on the weekly chart, it has bounced off its lows there at 380 with what we call a belt hold. It was a bullish candle for the week about a month ago. So maybe that was it, and it will maybe slowly start bouncing back from here. If we move on to, and I want to show you something that I was playing around with last night. This is a monthly chart going back to the 1980s. There were several drawdowns here back in the 1980s. There was also a 60% drawdown over a few years, although here in the late 1990s there was a drawdown of about 45-50%. We had a 60% drawdown also here in early 2000 or in the zeros. And then we had a drawdown here of almost 50% also in 2015, 2016. Every time it recovered. It took some time, yes, but it recovered and made new all-time highs. And now we have a drawdown of about 60% also this time. So let's see, maybe it could also recover this time around. Moving on to the US markets. US markets has yesterday it opened lower here. S&P 500 it opened at just around 5,900, a few dollars above it, and then buyers actually came in lifting it, and we closed a little bit, just a tad higher. Still some resistance here, just around 6,000. Positive sentiment, no divergence, so we are a little bit stretched though, but there is indications that, or there are indications that we could push a little bit higher. I can see that here pre-market it seems to be setting back a little bit again, but let's see what it can do later today. The Nasdaq 100 also opened much lower yesterday, about 1.2% lower, but closed almost unchanged, a little tad higher, and closed more or less on this resistance here at 21,454. Also positive sentiment, no divergence, indicating likely higher levels. We are a little bit symptomatic here this early morning, but I wouldn't read too much in it at the moment. Dow Jones also higher yesterday, just below 43,000, where there's a little bit of resistance here at 42,928. Seng seems to want to have another go at this resistance here at around 23,673. Testing again this morning here, or in the session, Asian session this morning, and it could break higher the coming days. So keep an eye on that. Really key level to watch out for. Euro stocks in Europe closed unchanged yesterday. Seems a little bit stretched, but still positive sentiment on the RSI. Could crawl higher here pre-market. Setting back a little bit pre-markets, but there's still a bit of time before it opens, so indicate a little about a 0.25% lower, but still we are in a bullish trend. But the European markets are quite stressed. But here we have the DAX index was strong again yesterday, and the minor divergence it had actually has been cancelled, and it seems like there is further upside potential. We're very close to 24,000. I think it will touch it, and maybe then we'll have a little bit of short-term top in place. However, as long as we stay above 23,338, the trend is still intact. A break below and a close below, well, then we could test these support here at 22,818. Pre-market a little bit lower, but still positive sentiment without any divergence. On euro dollar, well, euro dollar tested the resistance here at 112.65 yesterday. Could have another go today. There is quite a bit of resistance. We had the 21 moving average also coming down. But if it breaks above it, actually did break above yesterday, but couldn't stay above. I think if it takes out the peak from yesterday at 112.90, then we will swiftly see a move up to just around 114 and the 61.8 retracement just below 114. Still positive sentiment on the RSI. Euro dollar needs to close below 110.65 to remain bearish, or resume bearish trend after this corrective bearish correction trend here, and that could give room down to 109. Cable sterling dollar, I think it within the next few days could test the resistance here at 134.45. That will pay the road up to 136, 137. Euro sterling, a lot of volatility yesterday. We talked about it already, but still staying above the 100 moving average there, and I think it will bounce a little bit. But if it takes out the lows from yesterday at 83.85, then I think we'll see it sitting down to around 83. Dollar yen sliding lower, now below 61.8 retracement, 144.75. I think we'll see a test 786 retracement, 146.70 shortly, and could slide all the way back down to 142.5, 142 down here where we have some stronger supports. The 55 moving average pushing it lower. Slightly positive sentiment on the RSI, but it's really marginal, but it's still there. But I think it with all the moving averages, we are below the cloud. Moving averages declining. We have the 100 moving average moving below the 200, are both declining. That will give it a pressure to the downside on dollar yen. Euro yen also depressed here. Could actually slide all the way back to around 161. Where we have the 200 and 100 moving average. The 55 will give a little bit of support. However, we're still positive sentiment. So it's really, can't really make up its mind what it really wants this euro yen cross here. It got rejected at 165. It needs to get back above that and close above it for a push higher to 166.5, 167. Aussie yen sliding now again back below the falling trend line that it actually broke above of. Currently around the 55 moving average. There's still positive sentiment on the RSI, but I think we will touch at least the 38.2 retracement, 91.97, just below here 92. If it takes out that, well, maybe could get all the way down to the support area here around 19.60. But let's see. The 200 moving average declining, the 100 moving average also declining. That is giving a hard time actually pressing it lower, so I think we'll see it slide lower in the coming days and weeks. The sterling yen tested 61.8 retracement of this uptrend here yesterday, bounced, but I think it could have another go, possibly down to the 786 retracement, 191.60. Aussie dollar, well, still this range here between 63.40 and up to 66.50, so not much to talk about. Dollar Canada also range bound between 139, 138.90. If it takes out 138.90, then I think we'll see it back down to 137.50. To the upside, it is 140.25. Sterling Canada, after several attempts, stayed above overnight and during the closing yesterday or overnight, at 180, and it seems set to move higher. I think we'll see it pushing higher towards 188 and a bit. The 161.8 projection of this correction here, I think we'll see that in the coming days. Euro Swiss, well, still in this range here between 94 and a quarter and 93 here, and that's the range that needs to break out for a direction. The moving average is slightly declining or falling here, and there's negative sentiment on the RSI indicating we're likely to see it push lower, but for now it is still in this range bound, so it needs the direction. Dollar Swiss dancing around the support here at 83.35. I think we will see it down to at least the 61.8 at 82.58 here, but if it takes out the peak here, which I highly doubt, because we have the 55 moving average coming down here, giving it a pressure to the downside. It's still negative sentiment on the RSI, but if it does get up, well, then there's room up to 85.45 and possibly up to 86 level, but I think the downside, I favor the downside. It is not a recommendation though. We have the dollar index currently testing the, once again it did also yesterday, testing the rising trend line there. I think we will see it sliding lower to 99 and a quarter, the 61.8 retracement here. Also here we have the 55 moving average and negative sentiment pushing it lower. Gold, well, taking a breather really. We are in a slightly bearish trend. I mean, lower low, lower high, and lower low. Not confirmed by the RSI that we should move lower, but if RSI does close below 40 threshold, it is likely to do that. And at the moment, we are still above the rising trend line. We are still above the 55 moving average. That seems to be a nice support there. 3,120, look out for that. If it does break below, then I think we'll see a sell-off down to the 3,000 level, possibly all the way down to 29.55. However, if it should be able to bounce, and if we see it crawling higher, at least towards the 3,315, we're still above the cloud. So it is a little bit of a limbo at the moment. Looking at the weekly chart, it's not really giving it much. Giving us much. We still have this top and reversal in place, so let's see. Keep an eye on 3,120. That is really crucial low. The silver still range bound here between 31.65 and 33.70, and copper also caught range bound really 450, 481. On the energy side, and oil, WTI crude oil bounced off the 32 retracement at 60 spot 61. Still, we have the 55 moving average coming down. We have a negative sentiment, so there will be a downwards pressure. So if it takes out the lows here from the 15th of May at 60 spot 47, then I think we'll see a push lower towards 58, possibly lower. It really needs to get up above and close above 64.87. If it does, then we have a confirmed double bottom. So it is still in the making, and it's not really certain that I'm not too sure it will actually play out. The Brent Crude oil also bounced from the 38.2 retracement. If it takes out 66.81, there's potential to 68.68. It needs to close above that for confirmation of this double bottom pattern. If it takes out the low there at 63.44, well, then expect to push down to 61.62. The European nat gas is still range bound here between 34 and 36. Henry Hub, US nat gas below the 200 moving average. I think it will test the $3 here fairly shortly. Negative sentiment on the RSI didn't go into positive, so I think we'll see a US nat gas also moving low. We have the 55 moving average now crossing over the 100, giving the even more push to the downside. US 10-year Treasury yields, well, still below 4.55. Sorry, that is the key resistance to break for a push up to 4.65. Well, I do believe it will happen, but it just needs to gather its strength down here. 55 moving average coming up, 200 also positive sentiment. So I think unfortunately we will push up there. The 2-year bouncing a little bit. If it gets above 4.03% here, then I think we'll see a push up to 4.15, possibly up to higher levels. Also positive sentiment on the other side indicating just that. Not happy about the higher yields, to be honest. The Euro 10-year, well, it slided back after pushing higher yesterday, which could be good for us here in Europe. It could drop down to the 61.8 retracement at 254, where I think then again it will bounce. So we are in a little bit of a positive or bullish trend, but it needs to get back above 271 to establish a bullish trend towards 283. We have the UK 10-year, a lot of volatility, just below 475. It got knocked down again yesterday. Let's see where it will start trading today. If it takes out the lows there from Friday at what was it, 460, then we could see it setting back to around 455, possibly lower. And finally on Bitcoin, that was sold off yesterday but bounced towards the end, and it's just below the little peak there at 107, 137. We could see it pushing higher and maybe a new possibly all-time highs as long as it stays above. And let's just add that line there, as long as we stay above 100,700, there is a potential to new highs. Also Ethereum bounced off 2350, and if it takes out the peak here at 2740, 2739, then we are looking at 3,000 plus. All right, that's all for today. Have a nice day and talk to you again tomorrow.